Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Risk Modeling Hub. The video today is in continuation of the previous videos. Today I'll walk you through an ECL model for a home loan portfolio. I'm working for a client and since I'm almost done with my work, I thought to show you what goes behind the working of ECL. The base methodology can vary depending upon the client requirements and the data availability. But through this video, you will get a sense of the whole workflow at high level. This whole workbook is not shareable as it is client specific, but I'll try to explain in detail so that you can apply that in your own workings. And freshers also get insights who absolutely have no background in credit risk. So if you haven't watched my previous videos yet of the ECL Mastery series, you can check out my channel or click the link in the I button and binge watch all the videos. If you are a beginner, I would highly recommend as this would give you an understanding of the technical terms that you will be seeing today. So now let's get started. Today I'll be walking you through the IFRS 9 and RBI draft ECL calculation model that I have developed for the home loan portfolio. And this is a comprehensive workbook that takes you from the raw data, loan data, through a complete credit risk assessment pipeline, from rating assignment and all the way through the provisioning that meets both the IFRS 9 international standards and RBI prudential norms. So, this model basically covers 950 active home loans with an exposure of approx 3 billion, and it produces a final provision as well that I will show you once at the end of this Excel series. So let us go start and go through the methodology, the calculation engine, the scenarios that I have taken over here, and the final reporting dashboard that how it looks like. So first let's start with this documentation sheet. This is critical because any model auditor, be it internal, external, or RBI inspector, will ask you, like, what is your methodology? And this particular sheet answers that. Here we have followed a three-stage model. Stage 1, which covers the performing loans which have no significant increase in credit risk, and here the 12-month ECL is applied. Stage 2, the loans with SICR but they are not credit impaired, and hence the lifetime ECL is applied. And stage 3 are the credit impaired loans, the NPA ones, and here the lifetime ECL is applied with a bit of higher LGD. Right, so this sheet documents our SICR triggers and also the determination being the SICR, how when exactly it is triggered, like DPD being greater than 30 days, or the civil score drop if it is greater than the threshold that is being determined, and you will see in that particular tab, and many other things. Also regarding the PD methodology, the LGD one, the EAD one that we have discussed in our previous videos is being taken through that. Also the scenario weighting, the three scenarios being considered, 50% being allocated for the base, 25% being for downside, and other rest upside is 25%. And then the probability weighted ECL is computed. Also the prudential floors, the RBI one being applied, I do have taken the stage wise, and then the max is calculated to get the final ECL. Also I have taken some of the variables, the final ones that I do have considered, approx 50 plus variables starting from the loan ID, borrower ID. We'll see all these variables in our raw data sheet and from where they have taken. So basically this is the final sheet, not the final one, I would say one version before the final one sheet is I've been showing to you. There are still some adjustments and works still being left, but on a majority of 90% work being done. So now let's move on to the parameter sheet. This parameter sheet is the single source of truth for all the assumptions. So basically this centralization that have been considered in the parameter sheet, this is intentional, because if let's say RBI changes the flow tomorrow, so now then you just have to input one of the cell changes over here and then it will automatically reflect in the other sheets. So first of all, I just want to highlight that PD floor is set up at 0.05% as per Basel, and also the PDs by rating grades are being defined, like AAA is getting the 1% of PD and then being allocated for different rating grades. And also the LGD haircuts. The LG haircuts, if you haven't watched my videos yet, I would request you to please watch my previous videos, because here I am assuming that you have a sense of all the technical terms that I am discussing over here. So different haircuts are being assigned basis the property type, then EAD parameters for the CCF and the interest accrual factor as well, the SICR triggers, the macroeconomic based parameters, RBI prudential floor, scenario weights that we have seen in the documentation sheet. So that's I have created a centralized sheet, right? And also some of the references that I do have considered over here, like the RBI draft ECL framework and industry benchmarks and everything. Now let's move to the heart of our this sheet, the raw data sheet. This has 950 approx records with full borrower and loan characteristics, like the loan ID, the origination date, what's exactly the borrower level current outstanding balance, the interest rate, property type, their demographic variables like age, employment, CIBIL score, employment, what is the borrower currently employed or not, collateral value, what's the original collateral value, what's the EMI being going, how much has he paid, from which region was he, and some of the macroeconomic variable indicators as well, some of which are computed and some of which are like being we do have got from the client, right? And the age band. So basically, the variables that I have, I did then classification of some of them into the categories, and then the day stage bucket, like how many days have he been days past due, and then different other variables like the watch list, loan purpose, insurance coverage. So basically, I would say 50 plus of variables are being considered. And also the loan IDs, the risk scores that you have seen, they are formula generated for consistency, and they are being then sorted using the index match functions. So from this, if you see, the total outstanding is approx 3 billion exposure figure, if you see on the bottom right, the current outstanding balance, right? So now let's see are the next steps that I have considered. Next, the most important starting point is the rating model, which I have built using the weighted score method. So here I have scored each borrower on basis of 5 dimensions: the CIBIL score, the LTV, the income stability, employment, and the payment and the DPD, right? Yes, CIBIL score, LTV, income, employment, six ones. And also these ratings are being allocated based on the scores. Basically, this is the you can say you can get from the client, or you can build your internal model as well, where you are allocating the rating or the score bands to each of the rating. And then if I show you, like for each loan ID, for each CIBIL score, let's say the CIBIL, LTV and everything, I am calculating a sub score as well, so that I can get a composite score basis this by taking the weighted average of all the scores with the weight allocated to it. And based on this composite score, in order to because why this is taken, because I want to basically scale down, so that I can look into this table, and then I can assign the ratings to each borrower basis the composite score being arrived. And then I am allocating a numeric score as well, and I am putting a watch flag to these borrowers, like if yes. So what I am doing is that if my this rating the numeric rating is greater than 5, then I am putting them under the watch list. Otherwise I am not putting them under the watch list, right? So if I scroll down at the bottom where I have put a rating distribution summary, yes. So here you can see that this the stat from this statistical distribution, the average score is the average score per rating band. The count of the average score is being determined through the average CIBIL score, the average LTV across all the rating bands, and the percentage of portfolios along with the count. So my portfolio is being allocated maximum towards the double from A to double B. If you see, this has the maximum allocation of the portfolio, right? And most of the loans are being clustered into this segment, and which is consistent with the prime home loan book. So that's the summary across the rating distribution that I have created. And every step needs to be discussed with your senior people and the client, so that everybody will be on the same page. Then the stage classification sheet, and this is where the IFRS 9 defines features come alive. Basically, in this, I have allocated the threshold parameters based on the income reduction, HPI, regional HPI decline, or the DPD, or the restructuring flag, also, because the idea here is to determine the SICR, the stage changing thing, whether the loan is moving from one stage to another or not. So, in this three-stage model, a loan moves to stage 2 if any of the SICR triggers fire. Any of these, like if the days past due exceeds 30, because here I have put up a threshold of 30, right? The credit rating is downgraded or not, or the CIBIL score, whether it is dropping or not, I have put up a threshold of 50 points. And that's how we determines if the loan is moving to stage 2 or not. And stage 3, everybody knows that it is triggered by the NPA conditions. Straight over that, the DPD, if it is greater than 90, I am putting it under the stage 3. And also I have implemented, if you can see towards right, the SICR trigger is determined basis the conditions that I have put over here. And also I have applied a cool off logic, that a loan, that is, cool off logic basically means that the loan is not bouncing back to stage 1 immediately. So basically it must demonstrate that the loan has sustained performance over multiple periods, and then we are shifting our loan back, right? And then the final stage is being determined for all the borrower levels. Once we have determined that they have whether all these thresholds have passed or not, and basis that the final staging is being determined for each of the borrowers, stage 3 to 1, or right. Okay. Yes. So if I move down, I have created a stage distribution summary, and the stage 1 basically has 241 loans, and stage 2 has 661 loans, and stage 3 has 48 loans. So basically, if you see the percentage of the portfolio, stage 2 has maximum allocation, right? This is bit of incomplete, I do have to complete that. But the high stage 2 count, the one that we are looking over here, and from the percentage portfolio as well, it shows the early warning signs, because many, or I would say high quantity of loans have moved from stage 1 to stage 2, and that's why it requires close monitoring. And that's the idea behind creating this table. Now let's move on to our PD calculation sheet. PD calculation sheet, this is the technically most sophisticated one piece. And here we need to first start with the TTC PD from the rating model that we have seen. And these are the long run averages. We do know that it is basically determined from the historical PDs. But IFRS 9 demands point in time PDs that should reflect the current economic scenarios. So that is why we will apply these macroeconomic variables, the GDP growth rate, unemployment rate, interest rate, HPI growth rate, from the current scenarios to the base case scenarios, and then we determine the impact on the PD. We do have the TTC PD from the rating grade model. And then if the economy is weakening based on these variables, we should see that our PD must also scale up if the economy is weakening. That is, the high PD should reflect. And if the economy is strengthening, then it should reflect the low PD, right? So for each loan level, we do have ratings. For each, we have TTC PDs. The macro adjustment factor is being considered over here, which is coming out from the impact on the PD that I have computed. And stage, we all know it is being drawn from the stage classification sheet. Remaining tenures is being computed from the raw data sheet, and then the lifetime PD is being computed. First, we compute the raw PD, and then the lifetime is computed by using the RBI one, the flowed one that I showed over here. The 0.05 scaling is being considered over here, and then the lifetime PD is being determined. Also, the SICR PD check is being determined, and then the risk bucket classification is mentioned over here. On the column basis the applicable PD, the final PD that has been determined, and then we are classifying whether the PD is low, medium, high, or very high. Basically, risk bucketing is being determined, so that instead of looking all the loans at individual level, we can look at the summary through the stages and by the rating as well, right? Because this sheet is where the model becomes the forward looking one, and this is the core crux of the IFRS 9, including IFRS 9 model over the incurred one that we have discussed. So you can over here see that the stage 2 has 64.86 PD, weighted PD, right? And from the summary rating as well, you can see that the low ratings have the average lifetime PD. As we are moving downwards, the PD is also increasing. This D is here is not considered, as we all know that in this the PD has no meaning sense, because here the borrower has already defaulted, right? So stage 2 has high weighted outstanding PD, and that can be reflected through the rating level as well. Yes. Now let's move to LGD calculation sheet. And because this sheet is important, as it answers if a loan defaults, how much do we lose? Actually, we are losing after recovering the collateral. Since we are talking about the home loans, so we do have collateral in the picture, and we first start by applying the property type. What is the property category, whether it's residential, commercial, and everything is being drawn from the parameter sheet, right? Here we have seen that I have allocated over in, and it is being directly pulled from that particular sheet. Okay, so we first start with the property value, and then we apply the specific haircuts. The specific haircut being allocated to each property type, 25% being for residential, 35% for commercial, 40% for plots, and 50% for others. And that's the haircuts component breakdown, where we are assuming the selling cost of 5% plus time discount of 10%, and then the liquidity discount being considered for each of the property type, and then finally calculating the total haircut. Okay, and then we subtract this recovery cost from the legal and the expenses term. So if you look at the loan level LGD calculation table, so first we have the loan ID, then we have the property type, the property category, the outstanding balance, the original collateral, everything pulling from the raw sheet, current property value as well from the raw sheet, HPI adjusted collateral, what exactly is the haircut percentage, then the adjusted collateral as well using this haircut, right? Then the net recovery ratio and the stage, and then the final LGD being calculated using the regulatory LGD floor. We are then computing the final LGD, uh, so that we can have the incorporation of the regulatory floor as well, and also the haircut. So that's how we have our final LGD. And then I created a methodology summary first, and then we'll discuss the results as well, right? So for if we consider the methodology, that first I apply the property type haircut to the collateral, and then 20% of recovery cost and the time value discount to net adjusted collateral, that we have seen the formula. We then compute the net recovery ratio using this formula. If you have seen that this net recovery ratio is being computed using this formula, the adjusted collateral into 80% upon outstanding, and this is capped at 80%, right? Now LGD is equal to 1 minus the recovery. the one that you have seen more towards the right. And then the final LGD, the rightmost column, is the minimum of 100% or the maximum of the LGD calculated and the regulatory floor plus 10% of stage 3 uplift if NPA. And I have considered the RBI master direction RAB approach sheet. You can also go through that, and then we can see that for residential and the plots one, we can see that it is the LGD is coming out to be around the 45% or so. Okay, so that's how this high level understanding I want to give you, that how I am computing the LGD. There can be major tweaks as well, but that's the basis the data availability also I am doing. Next, let's discuss the EAD calculation sheet, and it is simplest of the three conceptually. For a home loan portfolio, EAD equals to the current outstanding plus any undrawn commitment multiplied by the CCF we have seen in our previous videos. And here I am using a CCF of 75%, and this aligns with the Basel standardized approach for retail commitments. And the reason is that not all undrawn limits will be drawn before default, but we conservatively assume that 75% will be fine. And the sum of all EADs is giving us the total exposure. So what are we doing here? The loan ID, the original loan amount, the current outstanding, month since origination, and then the interest accrual multiplier that we are computing, right? For how many months, and for the interest accrual factor being considered. So D11 is my month since origination. So we are computing over 12, and then we are taking the power of the interest accrual factor. So interest accrual factor to the power of minimum of 1 comma month since origination upon 12. Then the gross carrying amount, undrawn commitment, applicable CCF is 75% being taken, and then the total EAD is computed over here. So if you can see that 3.09 billion total exposure, 3.09 total billion exposure is being coming over here as an EAD. And then for my understanding, I computed the EAD to outstanding ratio. So once we have, then to create a table is better for our visualization purposes as well. So basically this EAD summary covers a portfolio of 950 of the total accounts with a total exposure of, as we have seen, of 3.09 of total exposure, right? 3.06 or 9, something related to that. And stage 1 consists of 241 accounts with an EAD of 77 crores, and this represents a portfolio percentage of 24.91 of the total. Out of that total portfolio, stage 1 is comprising of 24.91, and stage 2 is largest of all, comprising of 69.52 of the total exposure, and stage 3 includes just 48 accounts with the EAD of 5.56 of percentage of the total exposure. So basically the total funded outstanding is 3.06. Other than that, the total interest accrual is coming out to be 1.53, and other the undrawn commitments, the total off balance EAD is 1.78, and then we are finally getting a total EAD of 3.09 crores, and that's pretty much high, right? And here you can see that from the stage wise as well, and through the final total calculation as well. Yes. Okay, now let's move on to the scenario analysis sheet, because IFRS 9 requires probability weighted ECL, and we cannot just use one economic forecast, right? So we run 3 scenarios: base, upside and downside, with 50% allocated to base and rest 25 being allocated to upside and downside. And under each scenario, this GDP, unemployment and interest rates, they are taking different values, and this will flow into our PIT-PD model. So if we look at the table below, also these scenario PD LGD multipliers as well, which are derived We'll talk about this in some other later videos, in our later videos, but it's from high level understanding you can understand that these multipliers are important as they will reflect our each scenario. So we have our stage allocation. The base PD, for base PD, the base LGD and EAD are being computed from this, and for each scenarios I am computing uh, the LGD and the LGD, the PD is computed for each scenario, and then ECL for the upside, base, and downside, and then the final weighted ECL comprising of the probability weighted the weighted factor is considered for each scenario, so that we can get a weighted average ECL as well, right? So ECL of base is being computed using the PD, LGD, and EAD for the base case scenarios, and then the ECL is likewise for the upside and the downside, right? Yes. So in the summary table, if you see under the base scenario, the portfolio for ECL, this needs to be filled up. Yes, this needs to be done. So I am telling you that like there are bit of work being still left, so I am also have to work on that. Yeah, but as an overall perspective, the total ECL for the base is 81.36 crores with an average PD and LGD. Yeah, so with an average PD of 50% and LGD also approx 50.75%, and likewise you can see for upside and downside weighted ECL as well. And the total weighted ECL is coming out to be 81.55, right? So if you can see in the normal base scenario, 81.36 is coming out to be, and this one is for the down upside and below one is for downside, and you can see that the downside ECL is much higher, and this reflects the macroeconomic scenarios as well. Now comes to our computational tab, the very important tab, the ECL engine tab, which has over 950 rows of calculation, and for every loan it computes the ECL, which we have seen in the previous tab, the scenario analysis tab as well. So the idea of this sheet is to consolidate each and every results with us along with the prudential floor, the RBI considered prudential flooring being considered, and then the very final ECL is being calculated along with the coverage ratio as well. Coverage ratio of computed using the ECL and the amount of exposure that we have, like for each of the exposure how much ECL are we or how much provisioning are we computing. So let me go take you through directly to the summary sheet, because there is no point of going through the data set. From summary you can understand a bit better that this portfolio is basically consisting of 950 loans, and with a total EAD of 3.09 crores as we have seen, and the calculated ECL before applying the floor is 81.56 55, I mean this is 56, and across the final ECL then increases to 85.97, and this results, if you see, this results in a portfolio coverage of 27.79%. You can also see this ECL from stage perspective and rating perspective as well to understand the distribution, and also I have done through the region perspective as well, like so that we can see that how ECL is distributed. So from here if you can see that from region perspective ECL is fairly distributed, with the south region, if you see, look at the south region, that is contributing to the majority of the ECL factor, and the overall portfolio, the expected loss profile is primarily driven by the high risk borrowers. This you can see from the rating point as well. And while this, the stage 2 one is maintaining a total exposure of 32.38% with an overall ECL, if we do calculate, that is the 27.79% of the coverage ratio. So the idea to build this is to have the provisions allocation as well, which we do need to look at once the ECL is being computed. So now since we have our provision with us, the final provision 85.97, we then need to look at where how it is looking at from the stage perspective. So most provision sits in the stage 2. If you look at this table, the second table, the 69.64 is the highest provision which is sitting in the stage 2, and while stage 3 has the highest coverage ratio. Also, if you look at the tables below, from by the region and by the rating perspective, uh, we can see, if you look at yes, if you could look at the final from coverage perspective, triple B is the highest, double B is the highest one which has the highest provision, and from the region perspective as well. So basically the idea is that from different angles you see how exactly our numbers looking like, and then you can basically make your business decisions as well. So you have, I hope that you do get a sense of what I do have done the work, and that's the final reporting dashboard I have prepared for the home loan portfolio. This is a version 1, and there are still tweaks left, I can see that. The reporting dashboard is what is goes to senior management and the board, and basically it has some charts where we can see from the stage perspective how ECL is looking like, from EAD versus ECL distribution, from the provisional opening and versus the closing, and also the most important how ECL is looking the rating grade wise, right? So this dashboard refreshes automatically if any change in the input or any change in the chart is being considered. So basically dashboard is something, the summary form, whatever we have discussed in the previous tabs, everything you can see, what total loans, how much of the total EAD, how much of the total ECL, and then the how much of the loans are coming under the stage 3, what's the provision, their breakdown, ECL breakdown by stage, by rating, and do some graphical representations as well. And this helps us to present in front of the senior stakeholders. So to summarize, I'm trying to build a fully integrated formula driven ECL model. There are still some work left. If you can see, the sensitivity work is something I'm working on, the control panel is something that I'm working on in order to automate my work, right? So I hope that today you have get a sense of what I'm trying to say regarding the ECL model. We have discussed the staging part, the forward looking macroeconomic adjustments, and the prudential flows from the RBI, and also audit ready reporting as well. From the dashboard perspective, you get a sense of provision allocation as well. So if this video has added value to your learning from the insights perspective, to get a sense of how everything is moving along, how the final numbers are coming up, so I request to please like, share, and subscribe my channel. So basically the idea of this video is to give you a holistic view of ECL engine and how this looks like, and what are the steps that one can take, right? The methodology can vary. This is just one part of the methodology that I have considered over here. Some nitty gritties can vary with respect to the client, and that can be taken care of while you work, right? But this do takes a lot of time. It's not an very easy to, a day or a two. This is not a day or a two work. So I hope that you do get a working sense of the ECL. So do watch previous videos on my playlist for ECL understanding and to know about the technical terms like what we have discussed today in the warning. I know this a high level of understanding, but this for freshers and for the beginners who have not been into the industry right now, they do get a sense of what what am I trying to say. So please like my channel, share my channel, subscribe, and that's all for today. See you in the next one. Thank you.